There's been so much chaos in DC this past week, from Trump accepting the $400 million plane to the white South Africans that came to the US as refugees to the US losing its AAA credit rating. So, of course, that means we have to get into another installment of Trumpdates.
And we know you've all been waiting for the official News Girl's reaction to Trump's post about Taylor Swift, so we will be getting into that.
Everyone's been following Trump's whirlwind trip to the Middle East, where he met with all of these leaders. It was actually praised across the aisle for having a really successful meeting with the new president of Syria. But the trip concluded in a $3 billion weapons sale to Qatar and the UAE, which of course has caused a lot of controversy.
The sale would include Chinook helicopters, armed drones, hundreds of bombs, targeting kits, and F-16 aircraft components. And the State Department approved the sales, and the administration actually bypassed an informal review process for the sale to the Emirates.
And of course, the Dems are not happy with this. So Senator Chris Murphy is leading the opposition against the sale and is actually trying to block it, saying how problematic it is that the sale is coming as Trump's family has so many ongoing business deals with these governments.
Right. Trump is building a $5.5 billion beachside villa and golf course in Qatar. And just a couple of weeks ago, an Emirati firm invested $2 billion into one of his crypto ventures.
And we've reported on the golf course and the villa and how when Trump's family made those deals, they weren't problematic in isolation. But down the road, aka now, these conflicts of interest are arising because Trump is the president and these are really powerful governments. So we're potentially giving a country that he has business relations with billions of dollars of taxpayer money for weapons.
So we were wondering, how can the Dems block this bill because they're the minority party? But apparently the Arms Export Control Act gives them what's called a procedural tool to force a debate and vote on the floor.
And on top of that, lawmakers have criticized the Emirates specifically for its role in the war in Sudan that's going on right now. So they've been accused by the US and UN of supporting a Sudanese paramilitary group that is committing genocide in Sudan. An attack just last month killed 300 people and actually caused hundreds of thousands to flee. Quote, the US should not be delivering weapons as it aids and abets this humanitarian disaster and gross human rights violations.
So obviously we have to get into how Trump has picked a fight with some of the most famous celebrities in the world, like Beyoncé, Oprah, Taylor Swift, Bruce Springsteen, and Bono.
Yeah, he's been busy with a lot of late night random truth socialing these days.
So he said, how much did Kamala Harris pay Bruce Springsteen for his poor performance during her campaign for president? Why did he accept that money if he's such a fan of hers? Isn't that a major and illegal campaign contribution? What about Beyonce? How much went to Oprah and Bono? I'm going to call for a major investigation into this matter.
So there is no evidence that Harris paid Beyonce or any of these artists. There are records, of course, that her campaign paid Beyonce, Oprah, and Springsteen's production companies for managing their appearances, but the celebrities never got a personal fee.
And Trump had previously posted kind of a threatening message to Bruce Springsteen after he said this at his concert in Manchester.
In my home, the America I love, currently in the hands of a corrupt, incompetent, and treasonous administration. There's some very weird, strange, and dangerous shit going on out there right now. In America, the richest men are taking satisfaction in abandoning the world's poorest children to sickness and death.
I see that highly overrated Bruce Springsteen goes to a foreign country to speak badly about the President of the United States, which is himself. Never liked him, never liked his music or his radical left politics, and importantly, he is not a talented guy, just a pushy, obnoxious jerk who fervently supported crooked Joe Biden and mentally incompetent fool, our worst ever president, who came close to destroying our country. This dried out prune of a rocker, his skin is all atrophied, ought to keep his mouth shut until he gets back to the country. That's just standard fare, and we'll see how it all goes for him.
Then we'll all see how it goes for him. What does that literally mean? What is he going to do to Bruce Springsteen when he comes back to the country?
I don't know. I know Bruce is on a sold-out tour in Europe, so he's not returning to the US until July. So we'll have to be on Bruce watch when he gets back.
Oh, great. And of course, as Ren teased at the top of the segment, we have to get into Trump's Truth Social on Taylor Swift. Quote, has anyone noticed that since I said I hate Taylor Swift, she's no longer hot?
So he's referring to his very eloquently worded post after she endorsed Harris in the last election. But Trump should get his facts straight because Taylor Swift is so hot.
ICE agents raided over 100 DC restaurants and businesses last week, requesting to see the employment verification forms of all of the workers in these restaurants. And according to witnesses, many of the agents were armed with weapons, even though they weren't targeting criminals.
That must have been so jarring for literally everyone there, whether you're just working at your serving job or even if you're just eating in the restaurant and suddenly armed ICE agents are just swarming in.
Yeah, and we looked into this specific branch of ICE that's called Homeland Security Investigations, and we found out that they only investigate crime. So like human trafficking, like bringing in drugs, things of that sort. So just sending in these guys to check the legal papers of migrants that make up so much of the restaurant workforce is just really unexpected.
Well, people think it's connected to Trump's executive order titled Making DC Safe and Beautiful, even though I don't know how these raids are making DC safe or beautiful since they weren't targeting criminals and they didn't even make any arrests.
And maybe that's partially because a group of activists somehow kind of found out that these raids were happening and warned delivery drivers and restaurants of this ahead of time so that they were ready. And it's interesting because when Trump became president, we actually reported on these advocacy groups preparing for raids. And it seemed like such a far off hypothetical situation at the time. But it seems like all of that preparing in January actually is what helped make them all ready now.
Well, speaking of crazy hypotheticals that we never expected to become real, the Department of Homeland Security is considering a reality TV show where immigrants will compete for American citizenship. So it would be called The American, and they say contestants will represent a wide demographic of ages, ethnicities, and talents, and will join in the laughter, tears, frustration, and joy as we're reminded of how amazing it is to be American.
And it just gets weirder and more disturbing. So apparently each episode would include a heritage challenge, an elimination challenge, a town hall meeting, and a final vote, according to the show's deck that we're seeing here. The producer said that the heritage challenge will be tailored to specific locations. So this is insane. So there would be a gold rush challenge in San Francisco, a pizza challenge in New York, and a NASA challenge in Florida to showcase how cool America is.
And it's the same producer as The Millionaire Matchmaker, Duck Dynasty, The Biggest Loser. So he is a big deal in the reality show world. And he said that he has pitched this to every administration since Obama, but it's never gone this far in the process.
We love reality TV shows as much as the next person. This one definitely crosses the line. Trump ripped into Walmart over the weekend, telling it to eat the cost of all of these rising tariffs. And even though everyone's been really relieved to hear that tariffs on China were brought down to 30%, it's important to remember that the different taxes all stack on top of each other, bringing the rate up to 70%.
Yeah, we didn't realize that you can have layers of tariffs. So like shoes, for example, there's a 40% leather tariff. There's a 20% tariff on countries that bring in fentanyl, like China, and a 10% reciprocal tariff. So that's 70% right there.
Yeah, and these tariffs affect even the most basic items, some of which hit higher than that 40% tax on leather. So cotton sweaters, for example, there's a 46.5% tariff on them. Women's bathing suits, 54.9%. Even babies' dresses face a 41.5% tax.
I mean, that's a lot. And that's why it shocked consumers and business owners when Trump posted, Walmart should stop trying to blame tariffs as a reason for raising prices throughout the chain. Walmart made billions of dollars last year, far more than expected. Between Walmart and China, they should, as is said, eat the tariffs and not charge valued customers anything. I'll be watching, and so will your customers.
Ren, this entire segment is just reading such long Truth Social posts. That's your job.
I have an alter ego now.
And Walmart is obviously one of the businesses that might be able to actually handle all of these tariffs because they're this mega company. But what about smaller companies? The tariffs are skyrocketing in a way that's just not sustainable for smaller businesses.
Yeah, the Walmart CFO said, we're trying to navigate this the best we can, but this is a little bit unprecedented in terms of the speed and magnitude in which the price increases are coming. Trump made a deal with notorious cartel leader El Chapo's family to welcome 17 of his family members to the United States.
There's literally video of the family members walking across the border from Tijuana with their suitcases to waiting U.S. agents, and reportedly they packed $70,000 in cash with them.
That doesn't sound sketchy at all. El Chapo's ex-wife was among them, and she's been arrested for her role in his Sinaloa cartel, which at its peak was one of the most powerful drug trafficking groups in the world.
And apparently the president of Mexico told reporters that she was surprised by the news, and the Mexican government has demanded that Trump share information about the deal, which he still hasn't done yet. And I would also like details about why this is happening or how this happened, since this same administration is raiding businesses and spending billions of dollars deporting immigrants. So why are relatives of the most famous Mexican criminal being welcomed here with open arms? And to round out our Trump dates, a $45 million military parade with tanks and warplanes will be gracing the streets of DC on Trump's birthday next month. So I guess he's a Gemini, which makes sense.
Well, I guess the army is too, because it's also being billed as its 250th anniversary. And the parade will include an astounding 150 vehicles, 50 warplanes, and more than 6,000 soldiers.
Apparently, it's supposed to celebrate every U.S. conflict dating back to the Revolutionary War, and thousands of soldiers are visiting D.C. to participate and dress up in period costumes. And I guess these M1 Abrams tanks rolling down Constitution Avenue are supposed to be the highlight of the parade, so I'm glad that all these billion-dollar weapons are finally being put to good use.
The tanks weigh 60 tons each, so the army is putting down 100-pound metal plates on the street so that they don't cause any damage, because cleanup isn't even included in that $45 million taxpayer-funded price tag. And following the parade will be a parachute jump by the Army's Golden Knights. And here I thought my birthday table at a club was excessive.
And for some updates that you might have missed, Trump signed the Take It Down Act, which is a bill that addresses revenge porn and non-consensual deepfake images.
Which was actually championed by First Lady Melania Trump.